Let us wish a very happy birthday to Zion Williamson. And what a difference a year can make. I didn't realize this until I read the Andrew Lopez piece on ESPN.com, but Zion Williamson reportedly learned on his birthday last year, on July 6th, that he had broken his foot. Now, I don't think at the time he knew the full implications of that. Now we know that it ended up costing him a full year. You want to talk about what a difference a year can make. So on July 6th, the Pelicans are still awful. The franchise, we're all yelling about firing David Griffin because they were kind of covering up and obfuscating this injury. Zion learns he had a broken foot, which had to cause him like huge anxiety about putting that news out in the public, what the reaction would be. The reaction was terrible, like we thought. Like everything sucked a year ago. Now, 365 days later, the Pelicans are exciting, young, hungry. You got Kendrick Perkins out here apologizing. You got a rookie head coach in Willie Green who passed the test massively. You got Gandalf and C.J. McCollum coming in as the old wizened wizard to help lead this young team. And you have Zion Williamson going from learning he has a broken foot to signing a 5-year, $193 million deal. That could go up to $231 if he makes an All-NBA team next season. Jake, I got to imagine it's a pretty good feeling knowing that for all the autographs that man has signed, knowing that autograph just inked you $200 million in the bank.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels pretty good. And also, like, he knows what's going on in his career, what he hasn't done, what he hasn't been able to do. And so it does feel like he understands that. And he understands that there's going to be pressure to perform, but it does seem like he's eager to show that he can perform, like he wants to prove everyone wrong right now. So that's good. That's good to have that hunger side of you because people have questioned that in the past. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's been questioned.
Yeah, and we'll get to a Zion quote that I think that really shows that he is fully committed now. And one little quirk of the contract that I thought was interesting is there's no player option tagged on at the end. So the team obviously looking for more of a full commitment, not allowing for him to either, opt out, want to go somewhere else, or opt out and make a new deal a year earlier. They wanted him to do the same thing that Brandon Ingram did. When they re-signed Brandon Ingram, that's a 5-year deal with no player option at the end. In fact, here's the quote from David Griffin. Quote, Zion wanted to make the same level of commitment to this organization. He wasn't looking for a way out. He was looking for a way to stay. His family was looking for a way to be more involved in the community. And you see this here today. This is a human thing. And what Griffin's referring to there, they were at the YMCA that Zion's been hosting a camp at for weeks where he's been just absolutely dominating kids on the court. I mean, great clips. If you haven't seen it, just dunking on 10-year-old faces, looking good while doing so. But he was surrounded by the community, by these kids, as he signs this huge deal. Everybody's always loved Zion's smile. It was as radiant as ever yesterday. Again, how could it not be after signing this deal? And to your point, Jake, about wanting to prove himself, here's what Zion had to say. Quote, on my birthday last year, I found out I broke my foot. It was out the whole year. It was a tough year. For the Pelicans to come give me this birthday gift, I'm not going to let them down. I'm not going to let my family down. I'm not going to let the city down. And most importantly, I'm not going to let myself down. So he fully understands the pressure and expectations that come with this contract. And he fully understands that, what he has riding on him goes way further than just personal pride, right? I mean, it is a city, it's his family, it's the organization that has bet on him and believed in him despite having a sample size where, you could have cast a lot of doubt. And he now wants to prove that belief correct.
And we've never seen really anything to make us think that he didn't want to be in New Orleans. I know that quote or the video, I mean, he said it, of him talking about New York and the Garden and what it means like to play basketball in there. Like, it was like, oh, wait, he's going to be a Knick automatically. Going to be a Knick. It's like, that's the Garden. Everybody loves the Garden. Has anybody in here ever been?
I don't think so, man.
When you walk into that place, you realize you're somewhere special. It's just one of those venues. It's like if you walk into the Rose Bowl or Fenway or any Wrigley, like, you're somewhere that there's been a lot of massive history take place in the sporting world, really Madison Square Garden concerts and everything. And so, like, they took that and really ran with it. I mean, that was, in my opinion, just somebody like, man, yeah, this is the Mecca. I mean, because it is.
Yeah, look, I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, right? I don't know that I fully buy that the family and everybody were 100% happy in New Orleans. If we're being completely honest, the direction of the franchise felt pretty awful at last year, especially after the rough beginning, 3-13, or was it 3-16? I think is what it actually got to. Yeah, 3-16. It felt very bad at the time. And then you add in the history that we all know about with CP3 and Anthony Davis. And so, yeah, I don't buy that Zion was just 100% happy, but I also don't buy that he was 100% out either, right? I think, again, everything gets a bit sensationalized, and the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. What I do buy is that the New Orleans Pelicans prove that, look, we don't necessarily need you. So are you fully in or are you out? And I also buy that the franchise sold Zion on the fact that, look, we are improving, we're getting better, we're moving in the right direction, and we will win. But if we want to win championships, you are going to need to be the piece that puts us over the top. Or if you want to contend for championships. And maybe that's where I would take this conversation next. I mean, how realistic is that? It's something we debated for a while on Scone and Tea last night. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I don't really give a damn about championships. Before I'm even going to start to concern myself with that, I want multiple playoff years in a row. Right? Like, that's all I need. I don't care. And maybe not just the A seed, right? Like, if you can get up to being the 6th seed, the 5th seed, be a perennial. Yeah, Mari, you're reacting with shock, but yeah, I agree. And I know it's a feigned shock, but yeah, I mean, it's a process. Winning and building is. And when the Pelicans have gone awry a lot of times, it's when they've tried to skip the process. You finally now have a positive process in motion. And too many times I feel like I've been excited running into a season only for the rug to be completely pulled out from under me for one reason or another. So, no, my goal is not win the NBA Finals, which, again, is why I'm not all in on the KD train. My goal is make the playoffs consistently, and then we can have the luxury of getting bored with success. And then we can start to apply pressure for how do you take the next step. But I'm not jumping straight to a finals here out the gate.
And I completely understand what you're saying. And I'm going to assume that Matt had the opposite
he's all about
side of things. Okay. Yeah, look, there's always building blocks. And you can go to history. Very rarely do you see like a team go from where the Pelicans are to a championship in 1 year. Like, it's always, in college football, we always talk about go to the New Year's Six bowl game, and then you go to the CFP, and then you win your national championship. And look, it's a journey. And the Pelicans have the talent to have that journey for a couple of years. Like their window, I think, started last year in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at the roster, you look at the starters, you look at CJ, you look at Brandon Ingram, you look at Herb, you look at Zion, Valanciunas. I mean, that's a great core. And you've got really nice bench pieces. Yeah. So now it's like, okay, well, get to that building block. No longer are you in the play-in game. Like, now you're going to be one of the top, maybe between 3 and 6 seed, okay?
Yes. Do not be in the play-in. That should be the main goal for next year.
And get to the playoffs back-to-back years. That's why we talked about it being so important for the Pelicans to make the postseason last year.
Yeah.
Because you have to start that building process, and that started it. Now you go get a much better seed, not having to worry about playing in the play-in. And then maybe you make a run to a conference finals. And then that next season you shoot for the number 1 seed, whatever it might be. And that's not selling yourself short. That's just understanding how the building process works.
I agree.
I agree. This is one of 2 franchises in the league that's never even been to a conference final. So it is going to have to be a process. People have to be patient and think about the Bucks. They had to take their lumps before they finally got their ring. People wanted Giannis to leave.
MJ and the Bulls.
Yeah, look at the Celtics most recently.
We looked that up last night. MJ was like year 7 or 8 before they won the finals.
The Celtics too. They moved Brad Stevens to the front office. People wanted Tatum and Brown to break up, but they took their lumps and they eventually made it. The Pelicans have that kind of ceiling, but it might take a while.
Who's the other team that's not made the
the Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, well.
The T-Wolves made a final.
The T-Wolves made it with KG and Sam Cassell and those guys,
Wow. Was Wally Zerbiak on
Wally Zerbiak, yeah.
So do the Hornets count? That's not even counting the New Orleans Hornets history.
No, just that
the
franchise.
just the
So
Bobcats.
it's just a bad shared history. Like the New Orleans Hornets just have, like, or just the Hornet mascot in the NBA.
Yeah, because the Kings probably made it with C-Web
They did.
and
yeah,
Peja,
definitely.
Yes.
Right?
Bellotti,
That's
yeah.
weren't those Lakers,
The Lakers,
series conference
yeah.
finals?
The-
Big game Bob hit the shot. Yeah.
The Clippers didn't make it for the longest time until last year. But yeah, Hugo has never been to the conference finals, whether it's in Charlotte or New Orleans.
Or Hugo.
You know what they do have though? The B-Fence chant. And there's
Defense,
not
yeah.
a better chant in all of sports
Yes.
than B-Fence. We can. I mean, that's just put it on the poll. Is there a better chant in all of sports? Citizens Making Trust poll today. No. Okay, you're casting doubt.
No, I mean, you
What's a
said
better
it,
chant than B-Fence?
You said it in absolutes.
It
I'm
is.
just thinking, like,
not an
do we
opinion.
really want to give it?
To crib from Bobby Hebert. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. That's what he always says when he wants to really drive something home. Here's the other part about all of this. Is what makes me so excited for the future of this Pelicans team is not just the return of Zion Williamson. And Mario's always using the Joel Embiid comp, and that's how I make myself feel better and say that this will all work out. But it's the fact that you have Willie Green. You finally have a coach that you fully believe in and that you feel like is the man to guide you into this new era of consistent success. And here's Willie Green's quote on Zion for the press conference yesterday, and I love this quote. Well, Zion is a huge part of what we do or what we want to accomplish. And it's not necessarily him fitting in. He can do that with any team in the league. It's about maximizing the group that we have when we add him to it. Frankly, I think it's going to be scary for the rest of the NBA. Now it's going to take work to get there. What groups play well together? How can we take advantage of different mismatches? How can we put all our guys on the floor and give them an opportunity to be successful? That takes work. But it all come together at some point throughout the course of the season. And when it does, I think we can be a scary team. So, yeah, telling you, look, man, Zion's good enough where you throw him on anybody, he's going to be okay. But, like, if we really want to get to that next level, how do we maximize what he's able to do? And what I love about Willie Green is he's not claiming to have the answers. What he's claiming to have is a process that will find the answers. And after last year, a year in which he used that process to find the answers, I would say that I take Willie Green at face value there. I believe him.
Yeah, I think Willie Green, after you do what he did in year number one, being a former player, he was well respected in that regard as a former player. And then you do what you did your first time out with a franchise that was needing something. They just needed some stability. He brings that to them. I can't imagine the respect he has throughout the NBA as well.
Yeah.
Like if he's talking, no matter who you are in that locker room, you're listening.
Yeah.
Like, that's very hard to do with a young head coach that was just playing a couple of years ago. But now he's shown that he can do it. The players respect him. They love playing for him as well. So this is a great time for him to be able to mold this team how he wants to mold it, knowing that he has the buy-in from the full team.
Yeah,
which is always hard to get.
Buy-in's the hardest thing to get for coaches a lot of times, especially when they maybe viewed you, like you said, Jake, as a peer not long ago.
Yeah, one of the coolest parts of the press conference yesterday was Zion citing the speech, you got to fight. He was standing right there, he said, and he said that Willie Green was really laying into C.J. McCollum intentionally, like he was looking him in the face, and he said that he could tell that he was a former player, like, really recently, and that's when he started to gain a lot of respect for Willie.
Got to friggin' fight. Again, like Jake pointed out at the time, anytime you can use the word friggin' and have people actually listen and it land effectively.
Hard to do.
That's a lot of respect that you command. Smiley says, Zion's like Michael Thomas, getting paid way too much money for not playing for his team. That is so wrong on so many different levels. First off, Michael Thomas is a former NFL Offensive Player of the Year. I wish Zion Williamson had a skin like that on the wall. Secondly, he became NFL Offensive Player of the year after signing an $18 million a year contract or a $20 million a year contract. So, yes, the last 2 years of Michael Thomas have been very disappointing, but it's just it doesn't really track in terms of a comparison.